Hi everyone, my name is Nehemiah Archibald, and today I will be doing an informative speech on air pollution. And a study called Air Pollution, Impact and Prevention by researchers in the National Institute for Respiratory Disease states that air pollution is becoming a major health problem. 2.4 million people die because of the effects of air pollution. When you hear people talking about air pollution, you just think about the air being dirty and people not really making the world a better place, which is really the case. The purpose of this informative speech is to inform you guys about air pollution. The main problem here is that we're polluting the air and we're not really understanding how it's affecting our bodies and also the earth. The three main points I will talk about here is how pollution affects our health, how pollution damages the earth, and how air pollution affects the climate. The first point I will be discussing is how air pollution affects people's health. Pollution affects people's health in lots of ways that we don't think of, because when you hear the word pollution or people talk about air pollution, you think about the air just being dirty and you don't really think it has anything to do with us. But it does. It has a lot to do with us because we have to breathe in that air. In a recent study in the journal Associated Between Air Pollution and Clarification by researchers in the Health Science Department shows that air pollution can cause cardiovascular disease in the body due to air pollution. These researchers were able to find out that when exposed to air pollution in long-term situations, it could affect our body in lots of different ways. The point that I'm trying to make here is that the more we're exposed to air pollution, very bad air pollution, whether it's in the air or close to us, is that pollution can affect our cardiovascular system, whether it's just dealing with our lungs or dealing with the way we breathe. Next, we will talk about how air pollution affects the earth. Now that we have discussed how air pollution affects our bodies, next we will talk about how air pollution affects the earth. Pollution affects the earth in lots and lots of ways. But the main effect air pollution has had is on the ozone, the plants, and the trees ecosystem. Environmental Pollution's 2017 book perspective regarding 50 years of research on the effect of tropospheric ozone air pollution on the U.S. shows that there was a 36% increase since pre-industrial times in the ozone background concentration, which means there has been an increase in pollution, and according to the book, it is oxidized nitrogen coming from fossil fuel combustions. There are lots of places where pollution comes from, but nowadays the main causes of air pollution are fossil fuel combustions, you have factories, and then you have people just polluting the air with their cars that are releasing CO2. This is not only affecting the ozone, but it's affecting the forest as well. According to the book, the ozone is known to impact the forest in lots of ways, like affecting the water balance, decreasing photosynthesis, and decreasing chloroplast content. This can cause a problem with trees growing and new trees beginning to grow. The point here that I'm trying to make is that the more the air is polluted due to fossil fuels, factories, and other sources like cars releasing CO2, is having a big impact on the forest. And without the trees in the forest, if the trees die off and without the trees, we won't have oxygen because the trees produce oxygen. So it's very wise of us to make sure that we're doing our best not to pollute the air so we can have more trees. Next, we will talk about how pollution affects the climate. The last point I will be covering is how pollution affects the climate. Climate change is starting to really have a big effect on the weather. If you can't tell, some days it's cold in the summer, some days it get really hot, and sometimes summers last way longer than they normally is supposed to. Maybe even goes on until fall, maybe even winter. An October 17, 2012 article on ncbi.com explains that photochemical songs and O3, which is the ozone, increases the temperatures, which also cause heat waves and other wildfires and things of that nature that can affect the earth due to air pollution. According to the article, it also states that air pollution comes from CO2, factories, and fossil fuels. The main point here is that the reason there is such a problem with the climate change is that pollution is starting to have effect on the ozone, and we don't want that at all. The ozone is being affected due to the CO2 and the fossil fuels. To conclude this speech, we have covered 3 main points here. We have talked about how pollution affects our health, how air pollution affects the earth, and how air pollution also affects the climate change. All these points are very important because it helps us realize how important it is to take care of the world and to make it a better place for us people to live. I hope you guys understand the damage that air pollution can do to the earth and us people. I hope you guys take this information and try to make the world a better place. Thank you.